Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Gal may join us also. Spence, probably at the end of the show. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So what's up, Nick?
Not a whole lot. Relatively calm week.
Yeah. Slow
What's
week.
up with you?
No, nothing much. After last Sunday, I went to order those smoke C/CO detectors. Yep, these are the ones. And the Costco site was down. I mean, it wasn't completely down. You could go to certain areas of it, but if you did any kind of search or we're looking for electronics, it says we're updating. So try later. And I tried later and I tried the next morning. And it was weird. And finally it did come back. So I don't know if they got hit with something. Kind of hard to.
Or they were just doing a system upgrade.
Well, that for hours and hours and hours, it's,
How many people are shopping Costco online?
I have no idea.
That's the thing. I don't know how popular they do have a lot of good stuff online. I just don't know how many people are shopping. I've got a couple of Costco deals in the specials coming up. So
yeah, so I ordered, I said, okay, I have a security system in the house, an alarm system, and it includes some smoke CO detectors. And I said, all right, so I'm getting these, and I can probably use one. And really, CO, I was reading, because there was something about on Nextdoor suddenly at the same time. It said, do you have one? And they were talking about the fact that unless you have gas, you really don't need it unless you put it in the garage.
Well, there are a couple of things in which you could also need CO as well. And for you, having a generator, having a CO alarm is important.
Yeah,
I don't have. So you don't have natural gas. You don't have your water heater's electric and everything.
Everything is electric.
Yeah, so I don't have gas either. So CO is a little. CO, you don't necessarily, you don't really need the CO unless, of course, you have a pilot light for,
the
water heater or a stove or a dryer or something like that.
The generator.
But if you have a generator, definitely need CO.
And they were saying that the number one killer, CO killer, the reason is generators, that people are running them in the garage.
Yeah, when I first moved in here, which was July of last year, July last year?
2 years ago.
Yeah, not this past July, July before. It'll be 2 years coming up this July. Had a hurricane like 3 days after I moved in. Unfortunately, I had purchased a generator right away, and I had the generator not inside the house or not inside the garage, but at the back door of the garage, which is near the kitchen in the back side of the house. And I had a plug-in CO detector, and I had that near the kitchen. And there was a little bit of carbon monoxide getting in. It wasn't anything
interesting,
nothing that would have killed me. But but it's definitely because of the way the wind was blowing, and I had to have the 2 doors cracked to run the cabling. There was some CO that was leaking its way in. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking, well, now I have 3 of them. What am I going to do? And then I said, no, it's working over the internet.
No.
It's Z-Wave.
Z-Wave.
So it's sort of like Bluetooth in a way. It's
precisely. Precisely.
Yeah, so there is really, I was thinking, oh, you know what? I can give Hannah a couple of them. I can use one. I can give Hannah a couple of them, and I can monitor them.
Well, no.
No. Yeah.
But let's be clear. These are just also regular smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. They don't have to be connected to anything Z-Wave. And even with that, they're still relatively competitively priced.
Oh, the price is great.
Yeah. So even though, yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
You can still use them standalone.
Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking, I can monitor them, and I can have them, bless you, I can have them report to her, call, alert her. But yeah, it's, then I said, oh, wait a second. No, it's Z-Wave. It needs to talk to something around there.
So
but,
I got the 3-pack that they were selling.
Mm-hmm.
And I've set one of them up. What? Oh, you're feeding back, and we sound like monsters.
Yeah, Gal, if you can hear us. Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Just burping a lot.
Hello? Okay. I think you muted it.
Yes.
So here is, if you can put me full screen.
Full screen.
Here is the one that I set up. I've only set up one so far. And this is my Z-Wave hub inside of Home Assistant. And there's the unit. Gives me, the battery life. Let's see. See, here's all of the details. Alarm status, idle.
Let me just tell the audience, you can, on the video, you can click full screen also and see it on your full screen so you can read it.
Yeah, here, let me switch to one other thing real quick. Let's see.
So on the lower right side of whether you're on Twitch or on Facebook or on YouTube, you can click the full screen. The only thing is you're going to miss the chat. And then you can just hit escape and come back.
So,
yeah.
So here are a couple of the settings that it gives you for the device, the entities. The smoke alarm. Is there smoke? Is there things like that? So yeah, it's a cool device. It was very, very easy to set up. There was a little description in the part of the setup documentation that said how to connect it. It was as simple as holding down a button and putting the batteries in, and it is.
You
now
forgot
working.
one step.
What did I forget?
Putting earplugs before you press that button.
Yes, it does chirp. And then I do need to light a match next to it or something to make sure that the alert is working as I want to. But that's a relatively easy thing to do. So
it's not that it's chirping; it's actually alarming that it's loud.
Well, it has the chirp itself is just
when you put the battery in for the first time, it chirps like any fire alarm does. So yeah, I got it. I've only set up one so far. I need to test and make sure the alert works. But I mean, outside of that, it's just a regular fire alarm and carbon monoxide detector. So I'm happy with the one I set up. Battery life will be interesting to watch, and that's kind of where we're at.
No, nice.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the battery life in yours. You bought it I bought mine around 2016. So it'll be interesting to see if these newer generation are better at it.
Well, the other thing I'm gonna try and do, since I have 3 of them, I might take one and try and customize it. Is I have uh, electrical service run at both of the fire alarm outlets. It's just pushed back into the wall from when the house was built. There wasn't battery smoke alarms. So I'm going to try and see if there's something I can do to maybe wire in that as
Yeah, I
well,
get what
which
you're
would,
saying. I just don't think you get it needs 3 volts, right? I don't think you get 3
No.
volts from those
Is it
wires.
is it 2 batteries or 3?
it's two
Okay.
double A's.
Yeah. No, I mean you can always get just a cheap power supply charger for 3 volts, and
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I don't
of
think I'm going to
course.
go that far. I might be able to make a little circuit or something that I could um, get it connected through and see. I think that would be kind of neat since I've got the electricity there.
Yeah.
Might not be a bad thing. I don't know. We'll see. It depends how big of a problem it ends up becoming.
I mean the CO fire detectors that I have, not the ones on the uh, security system, but the freestanding ones that I have in the house. Their batteries, it takes 3 double A's, and their batteries go bad after about 3-4 months.
Really, that's not normal.
Yeah, it starts chirping, and not chirping.
How old are they?
Probably about 2-3 years old.
Interesting. That should not be the case.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember in the beginning how long, so I started writing it on a piece of tape and sticking on it when I changed the batteries, and it's about every 3-4 months. And when I check the batteries are still good. They may not be 1.4, 1.5, they may be 1.3, but come on. So I use them in other things, in remotes or what. I don't throw them away because they're still good batteries. But it starts beeping, that beep every so many minutes.
Yeah, it's a chirp, not a beep.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the device. There's just a battery compartment up top. You put your double A's in, which it comes with, by the way, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's a relatively. It's a smoke alarm. There's not a whole hell of a lot to deconstruct with it, but
Yeah, but it's
So there's one option that I've never really played with, but now that there's somebody else interested in it, maybe it's time. So you know how smoke alarms, when they're wired, especially in the house, they're supposed to um, trigger all of them, right? When you have an alarm, right?
Yeah.
All of them needs to sound out. And Z-Wave has that option. So when the alarm goes off, if it's configured for a specific, there's something called zones, and you can hook up all of them together to the same zone. And so when one goes off, then the others, they will go off as well. So it'll be interesting researching that. I've never went that deep. I was happy enough with it installed, and I never looked into it, but know that there's an option for that. So it has nothing to do with the hub itself you're connected. It's not like the hub is going to trigger that. They're going to trigger one another internally.
Gotcha.
When you're talking about they all need to sound the alarm, we're talking about a system. I mean, when you have individual ones, I don't know that will do it.
Well,
there's some that do that. There's some that do that by default out of the box that they sync together.
Yeah, it's all about building, being up to code. And so if you have an inspection done on the house and you have more than one alarm, if it's built after so and so year, then all of the alarms they need to go out together.
If it was installed by the builder.
Again, from a specific year forward, this is a must. It's not an option anymore. Yeah,
Interesting.
the building code.
So you're in Israel.
I am in Israel.
What time is it now? It's about 4:30.
3:30. Yeah, 3:30. Yeah, I am. That's. I think this will work a bit better.
You sound better.
Well, I'm outside right now.
Yeah, you sound a lot better. There's no echo.
Okay,
Wow, look at
the beautiful beaches of Netanya.
the Mediterranean.
There you go. So yeah.
Very nice. Temperature, and what's the temperature?
It's cool, not really warm, but you've seen I've stepped out with my short sleeve t-shirt and it's okay. I can't stay there very long. So yeah, but it's getting better. So you say there's an echo when I speak?
Well, we can tell you in a room. No. It's a room echo. It's not an echo.
Okay.
It's a room echo. Yeah.
So this is what I find a little annoying. So here's my old first alert alarm, which was just the standard disposable one. You don't put batteries in. It's got a lithium built in. And what I was hoping is that the first alert ones would have these connectors like this one does, which I believe are connected to DC or power line. I didn't look at this until I pulled it off the wall. I just kind of stripped off part of the back of this. I just cut some of the white off. It doesn't have that, which is unfortunate. So
are these RJ45?
No, they're not. They're just some sort of, I don't know what they are precisely.
Okay. All right.
There's some sort of there's some sort of connectors for something. I don't know. I've never looked at what they are. I'm sure First Alert sells a little block or something that you push in there and then screw your clip your terminals into. But the First Alert one does not have that. So I'm sure somebody online has figured out a way to connect these to line voltage. So
the answer is no. I've looked for years. No.
Really?
There's no way.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll figure something out when I get.
Yeah, Amnon can wire something together with some resistors or something like that. The other option would be to put something in the battery bay that is connected to AC. That would be an option as well.
Well, what you want is you want to put rechargeable batteries. Remember, you can't put regular batteries and electrical. Because
I'm saying, but there might be some way to connect. There might be some way to connect the battery terminals to the AC through some sort of device or something.
Oh, that will replace the batteries. I see what you mean.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, the problem is when that AC adapter, when it starts burning up and you lose power, you won't have an alarm that tells you that something's burning.
Yeah, but
that is a problem. I agree.
But you would you're talking about fire, or are you talking about?
I mean, the fact that he's connected to power without batteries.
Yeah.
Right. That is when that alarm is useless. So
that's correct. Yeah. If the power breaks,
something exactly.
Yeah. Well,
okay. How is this audio compared to before?
Better.
Okay. Good.
It will be interesting to see How long? I mean, look, if the batteries last 6 months, 7 months, it's fine. I mean, it's
Look, the good thing about this, and Nick, this is probably the first automation you're actually going to build, is you're going to be you're going to wait for the first chirp, right? Which will be a few months for going forward, and
Hopefully.
You'll record the battery level, and then what you're going to do is you're going to create an alert that you're going to get a notification when it reaches, a percent before that or something like that. And so you will be able to know when your battery is about to go dead or go bad, but be able to replace it on your own terms and not necessarily by a chirp at 3 a.m.
Correct.
So, because they always go off at 3 a.m. It's like, well, in your case, I think 3 a.m. is even more painful because you need to wake up at 4. So it's like,
actually 3 a.m. would be perfect. I'm kind of already up and at it. So no, my luck going to go off at 11 p.m. when I'm fast asleep.
Exactly.
That's my problem. So yeah, it was really easy to set up. I can set up the second one right now here just to show you how simple the process. Now, there's no problem with giving away my key, is there?
Your key?
Because when if I share my screen and pair it, it'll show the key. Does that matter?
No, it doesn't really matter.
Well,
and I don't think does it show the entire key or just the last 4 digits?
It shows the whole key.
Okay. Yeah, not really. I mean, let's be realistic, right? If somebody is watching this with the know-how of how to hack your Z-Wave system, and can make use of that key, they still need to be in
proximity of my house,
20 feet, right? Proximity to your house to do something with it.
So let's do this real quick, just for folks that are wondering about home automation, how the process works. So I've got the fire alarm in my hand, and I'm going to put my Z-Wave into inclusion mode, which will add a new device. We're going to call this so we'll call this fire and CO2, and we'll call it hallway because that's where it's located. So we'll put it in default mode, which will mean the device will automatically sync. And now I'm going to and there we go. Picked up the device, picked up the authentication, shows me the key of the device, which is the same key.
You need to enter the PIN, right?
I do need to enter the PIN.
Which is written on the device.
On the device, on a sticker, on the package. Yeah. I mean, it's written a whole bunch of places.
Yeah.
And
very important to keep these. So
yeah, the good news
with Bitwarden, right?
Yeah.
So make sure you have a copy of it somewhere outside of the system. Just in case you need to rebuild everything, you want that PIN.
Yeah, well, fortunately, it's on a sticker on the device. It's on the black back label of the device as well. So there's a couple of different places that it is. And there you go. It is connected to the hallway. The hallway smoke alarm is connected. So
nice.
Very simple.
Excellent. Yep. Well, congratulations.
Well, that just goes to show you, once you get a couple of the things, all right, once you get the Z-Wave hub set up, which is literally as simple as plugging in a USB stick, depending on the device, and a lot of this comes down to, Colin, back me up on this, comes down to the manufacturer of the device and how they handle the integration to Z-Wave. It seems like First Alert has got you saw how quick the system was. The water leak sensor was a little bit different because it was a cheaper device and the security wasn't set up and wasn't available. But it's very, very simple.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has changed from the systems on the on your end. In your case, Home Assistant. Even Home Assistant has gone through a lot of changes in the past 4 years when it comes to Z-Wave. I mean, probably Z-Wave was also always integrated. There was always a solution, but the way it works right now, you're using the Z-Wave JS library with MQTT support, right?
Correct.
And yeah, and that component didn't exist a year ago. It's a uh, very new development. It's not as the code is very established because it's based on a lot of projects that came before it. So it's not like, oh, somebody started something from scratch and it's really from scratch, but it was the best of ideas from all of the solution out there in the community that worked with Z-Wave and open source, and finally integrated into Home Assistant. And Home Assistant treats that integration as a first-class citizen, and it makes working with the components so easy. I've started playing with Z-Wave back in 2014. I got my first Smart Thing hub, which was a small startup that was backed up by a Kickstarter. I bought the kit based on a Kickstarter supporting it 2 years before. I didn't even know I'll live in the States at that time, and even though I bought something that was theoretically only should work with 120 volts, and I said I knew that once I'll get it, I'll figure out how to use it, even if it meant that it will need to be shipped to Israel. And surprisingly enough, a few months after we got to North Carolina, I get a message in my email that the Kickstarter, I already forgot about it. This is years ago, that the Kickstarter is ready to ship. Obviously, a year or so delay. And I got it sent to the rental house we had in Cary. And it came along with a bunch of Zigbee devices. And later, when we moved to our home in 2016, that's when I really started playing with it and bought some Z-Wave. I have no idea what's talking in the room. If you're hearing that, sorry about that. And I bought some Z-Wave based switches, wall switches for the lights. And I can tell you that figuring out how to do that required a lot of trial and error and reading other manufacturers' guides to try and figure out how your device might work. I mean, nothing was established. There was no community. The systems weren't clear. Everything was murky. The process you went through from day one with your stuff is such a joy to see how welcoming it is for newcomers, because it is so. First of all, there's a lot of support out there, right? And so, I mean, embrace it. It's even if you are feeling that you're stepping into an unknown realm and you're curious about whether home automation is something you will be able to deal with. It is very simple. It is literally hooking up the blocks together in the right order, and everything is already laid out. All of the documentation, all of the resources. Anybody you need to ask a question, it'll be easy to find them. So, if you thought home automation was going to be a project that is going to suck the life out of you, that's not the case. It's going to bring a lot of joy because you'll be able to start treating the components you hook up to it, literally your home, to your new toy. And the technical aspects are really solid today. So that's all I can say. Because whenever Nick says, "Hey, I got these other things. Let's share it with the world," I say, I mean, I'm usually hesitant about sharing because I was used to getting to a situation where I hook up something and then the next week I need to deal with something about whatever I hooked up. This is no longer the case. Everything is really solid. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying seeing Nick start building his smart home block by block, because he gets to experience a completely different process than I did originally. So can't recommend it enough. It's start playing with your home. It's fun.
Well, I guess that just goes to show you, well, it goes to show you a couple of things, that the underlying technology is really good, right? If it was a crappy system that everything was built on, it wouldn't have been able to progress. So that's one part of it. And then the second part of it is the open sourceness and the community aspect of it, that we're able to combine all of the underlying pieces that are all good and turn them into something that, now, obviously it's not for everybody, but it is. I mean, you just saw how simple that process was. It was as simple as putting in the two batteries, holding down the button, and pairing it. I mean, 20 seconds and it's connected. And so I think it goes to show those two different things there. Good underlying technology and a good community that can incorporate that good underlying technology into something that is user friendly, which is really cool to see.
Right. And one of the things you get to see, especially with these connected devices, when it comes to the hardware, is it is not, especially when you're talking about Z-Wave or Zigbee, it doesn't really matter who the manufacturer is, because as long as they are incorporating the latest protocols, and what you buy today is current in terms of technology, it'll hook up. The Z-Wave chips for the hub, they're usually backward compatible, so you'll be able to connect also to all devices, and it just works. And the support you actually get more from the community than the hardware manufacturer, because usually the hardware manufacturer are just terrible in documenting. Because let's be honest, they're selling components that a lot of the customers are looking to buy on the cheap, right? Nobody wants to replace what's already working to switch on the light with something very expensive. The exception would be when you're building a home. That's when you sit down and you start looking at, how much it will cost you to install something smart versus a regular one. I mean, a regular switch will cost $2.50, and
$2.50,
smart
try like
switch
87 cents at a hardware store. I mean, those things are dirt cheap.
Right. That's the thing. It's dirt cheap compared to the 30 plus bucks you need to pay when you buy them one by one, right? The smart switches. So there's that expense on top of a lot of other things. And so what really suffered for, unless you were a professional installer that, that your employer actually paid for you to go to a course to learn how to do it, and you got access to the manufacturer support, as a consumer, you would usually rely on the community. And the community today, especially because of these open source software like Home Assistant, is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's, I mean, you cannot compare any product you purchase with the community that you got around that. So yeah, this is for a software geek like me, I can tell you this was a dream come true when I finally found Home Assistant. and the community around it. It's amazing.
So let me ask you this, Gal, and I'm not trying to put the horse in front of the carriage, but now I've got my water sensor and my smoke alarms, which were the two things I really wanted. An internal water sensor, which, by the way, they've sold water sensors for years that beep if there's water. That's only good as if you're somebody's here to listen to it beep. Same thing with the smoke alarm, right? Smoke alarm is great, but I'm out and about a lot, and I'm home almost every day, but there's times where I'm traveling, and as the political season kicks up, I'll be out of town for days at a time. It's only good if somebody's here to hear it, and I don't believe my cat is going to be efficient and effective at alerting me that the water heater has busted a leak or that the house is on fire. So
you haven't trained him to phone you?
No, she's not. She doesn't take direction very well. Case in point, this morning when she came in and woke me up at 3:00, and then at 5:30, and then again at 7:30. So not the most effective when it comes to training. But this now I can get these alerts remotely, and that's kind of my big thing. Is I've got some lights, and I do all of that stuff through Amazon, and I've been very happy with how that's worked. I've got a whole bunch of the Amazon smart plugs. Years ago, Amnon did the same thing. Best Buy was selling the plugs for $5. You get 3 of them for $15. So I'm very happy with that. I don't plan on switching those out. So what is the next device? No, and I'm not going to, and I'll eventually hook that up to Home Assistant. What is the next step? What is the next device that makes sense to get now that I've got the smoke and carbon monoxide and the water sensor? What is the next thing that you would say is the next thing for outside alerting and things like that?
So now it sounds like you are focusing on securing your home. Okay. So one thing you can do is like get a doorbell, or not necessarily a doorbell, but a video camera that can alert on movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can hook it up. If you're interested in measuring energy consumption, for example, then there are solutions that you can hook up from that aspect. There's a box you hook up to your electrical
service panel.
Yeah, exactly. Panel to the electrical service panel, and it analyzes the different frequencies and consumption. It manages by just being hooked up to your mains, basically, to learn patterns of energy consumption and identify. It lets you identify by those energy patterns which device is consuming what, which is interesting. Yeah, that's a whole new brand world. But the combining that with Home Assistant. So one thing that Home Assistant does that you don't get by just using the device is not only remote control, but it is constant tracking. Everything has an history, and you can do something with that history. So energy consumption. Okay, here's an automation that will make sense. You have a vent in your bathroom, right? You can buy a rather cheap, for the cheap. It'll be anywhere between 15 to, I don't know, I think 15 to $25. You can buy a sensor that will combine light, movement, and humidity. And you put that in the bathroom in such a location where it detects when somebody enters the room and occupies the room, and it will track humidity and light. So combining the hour of the day, so if it's not too late, and somebody walks into the room, right? You combine that with a light switch, it'll light the switch. If you start your shower and humidity starts rising in the room, then it will you can switch on your vent. The vent will stop when humidity stops dropping, right, after a while. So stuff like that. You can create a smart room very easily by combining a sensor and a switch.
It sounds like you are describing, I believe what they call that, what, presence detection is, I think, kind of what you're describing.
Well, very limited one. It's more about movement. It's not really presence, right? Because as long as you're in the bathroom and the sensor is in such a location that it will detect you. I mean, the last thing you want is going in the bathroom, throwing out the curtain, and the lights going off on you, right, while you're in the bath, yeah. Right? So you need to figure out how long those lights need to stay on for it to be convenient, or if you align your home with these movement sensors, then you can probably create some presence by approximation based on all of those values. But that's for a much much larger project. For a person living alone, it's really easy because there's only one room where something needs to move, but you're not living alone, you have a cat. So how do you know when it's you moving versus the cat, right? That's where you start getting into trouble with presence. But what I'm talking about, based on movement, you can have some simple logic, not something that will take you too long to program, automate, and simple rules that say, okay, humidity is too high, enable the vent. Humidity is low, you can stop the vent, right? Stuff like that. That's a very simple. Remember, if then that, right? IFTTT. That's concepts like that you can create with anything. Anything you can say, if then that. If something happens, do this. You can do at home. And the real challenge is figuring out which of if then do something. What kind of conditions do you want to set up, right? Once you start realizing what you can do, then comes the question of, can I hook that up, right? And sometimes you're missing just one piece, like in this case, a humidity sensor. Sometimes you're missing a more complex one. For example, presence, right? Presence is the key for very good automation. And I cannot say I've found the one-all solution. There's a mixture of them. I think all of them are flawed. Some of them you might be willing to take upon. There are those who wear a certain tag on them all the time, right? Something that will help identify proximity up to 3 to 4 feet. If you get something like that, then you can create room presence type of automation. Home presence is a bit easier because we all use our phones. We all take them with us, and that phone usually connects to our home network. So it's a very simple presence automation. Just detect whether you're connected to your home network or not. But you still need to create some conditions, exceptions of, okay, I'm at home, but I'm not connected to my network because I switched Wi-Fi off, right? So the house needs to be patient with the changes of state and not just react immediately. So you need to create some temporary exceptions that won't switch out your presence. That's where presence starts to be. When you're relying only on one system to tell you whether somebody is present or not, you are definitely, it's going to annoy you more than help you. So you need to find out how to get the automation to work for you and not annoy you. So right now, with smoke alarms, with a water sensor, these are situations where you want fast alerting. You want fast reaction, immediate reaction, because those are rather reliable in the way they work. And the moment they are triggered, even if it's going to annoy you, you want that trigger to do something. Home automation usually lies in the gray area of there's a lot of things that I do daily and that should be automated, but if I completely automate them using very, very old methodologies of, okay, there's movement, hit the line. Think about how many times your front porch light would light up if, I don't know, if movement was detected by wind, right? By air moving. It'll be annoying as hell. Or if small animals would trigger movement of light. I mean, even the better sensors, they might be triggered by a bug that is very close to the sensor, right? And so, just something flying next to the sensor triggers the light. Stuff like that. So when you start playing with home automation, you want to be able to take multiple factors into it. And a system like Home Assistant does that very easily. But start throwing more input. That's the key. Start throwing more input. Movement, humidity, light, network presence. Start thinking of these as inputs to conditions. That's the key.
Excellent. Well, I think I think the next thing I'm gonna get is, and I'm not gonna get it now. I already have a smart thermostat, smart Wi-Fi, Honeywell. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is get a Z-Wave thermostat, and then
hold on.
Go from
you
there.
Can hook up your Honeywell to Home Assistant.
It's already in Home Assistant.
Okay. So let me ask you this: the next step is for you to fully automate your heating and cooling, right? Based on two factors. One, your presence at home, and two, the outside temperature.
Which the outside temperature I already have, because I have a I have an ambient weather I have an ambient weather station that I also have connected to Home Assistant as well.
Right. So you have all of the input, very accurate input about what goes outside, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, you can tie it in to weather service, any weather service, and you can tie it to the trend of whether the temperature is expected to rise today or temperature is expected to decline today.
Yeah.
And by comparing, I'll probably use wrong statistic terminology here, but if you're figuring out that the incline is going to be steep, right? You can say, okay, today is cool mode, right? This time period is just going to be in cool mode, and I'm going to put the AC in cool mode, and the temperature is going to be like active cooling. You can figure that out, right? So you build the logic around that, combining all of the inputs, and it is the last time you touch your thermostat. And when you want to make changes about it, right, is it'll be on your terms completely, not limited by any design that the thermostat came with or anything like that.
Well, here's a next step that I actually am thinking of right now. And Amnon, when you're ready to move on, just tell us and we'll stop.
Okay.
I need to get a Windows sensor. For the first step would be open the windows, turn the thermostat off. That would be probably a good first step into that. Would be that. So I'll go and see if I can find a cheap Z-Wave window sensor. If the front window is open, thermostat goes from either hot or cool to off.
Yeah, that's definitely door sensors. And not only that, is with door sensors you can, you left home, you'll know if you forgot that door open or not. I'm talking about wide open. Next, you have locks. I mean, anything you can think of will work. The most, I think, the most sought out automation that people hate doing but really want automating is blinds. But blind is always a bit it's a bit complex because you need power next to each of those blinds for whatever is driving the engine that's going to open and close them. So it's not necessarily battery.
It's definitely not.
Yeah, because even if it was battery, it would be very short-lived. So you really want some sort of solution that is better there. So blinds, I can tell you, is sort of a holy grail for anyone who can figure out how to do that with very low energy, because that's right now the most expensive solution out there when it comes to automation.
All right,
but that can be a fun project.
I want to take you back, and I find fault in what you said about humidity, movement, and all that, and vent. I see situations where you have to turn the vent on even if there is no high humidity in the bathroom.
Yeah, that won't work either.
There's always, and that's the thing, is none of this stuff is perfect until you implement it and look at your actual use case.
Yeah, and one good thing about a system like Home Assistant, as I said, is you get history. And because you get history, then, okay, it didn't work perfect. You go back and you look at the data that was accumulated and you can tweak everything according to that. And not only that, is if you figure out what, you can probably try and rerun the logic against the data that you've collected, right? And you can create scenarios and you can figure out whether the automation worked as you wanted or not. So that's why a system like Home Assistant, when it's built properly, and you do not find it in any of the, at least I haven't seen it in any of the professional systems that come with the devices you buy, even if they are designed to hook up multiple devices. They don't provide an interface like this. They don't provide a way of looking of the data like this. So,
all right. Hey, Nick, are you ready for your specials?
Sure.
All right.
I'm ready for special.
What's so special?
Well, first is a meme of a Windows update. So all updates are now installed, and I'll just do a quick reboot, and then we're all done. Then, oh look, another new update. The revolving cycle of running Windows with Dory from Finding Nemo, who we know was a little challenged. So
it's funny you're saying you're describing Dory and the short. Now that I look at it, Dory really looks like that paper.
Yeah, the Clippy. Yeah, Clippy was a great.
Clippy.
Yeah, Clippy was a great man. All right, let's get into it. So this is the same kind of format specials from last week. I've been using Slick Deals to do this because there's a lot of really cool stuff that is not. A lot of it is on Amazon and websites that just don't have flyers. So let's start off with a power brick. This is a Ugreen portable phone charger. It's 10,000 milliamps, and the way that they've got it broken down, and by the way, the link to this is on Slick Deals because there's a coupon code, but you can get this, it's normally $25. You can get it for $14 if you clip the coupon from Slick Deals. So click the link to get that. The nice thing about this charger is that it is USB-C in and out. There are some, and I've got a bunch of these that are mini USB to charge, and then a USB type A for your output, which is fine, but then you have to carry around two different cables. So this has got a USB-C in and out for charging, and then a traditional USB type A for connecting something that doesn't have USB-C, or a regular USB-A to Lightning or some other sort of device. They claim that with a full charge that you can get 2.5 charges of an iPhone 13, a full charge of an iPad 11, and almost 2 charges of a Galaxy S21. And the other thing is that they claim that this will it will fully recharge in 3 hours, which these devices do take a long time to charge. They're huge devices. 10,000 milliamps is a lot of charge. So you can check that out at Amazon. It is on sale for $14.40. Moving on to the next item here. Apple is running a sale on their AirPod Pros. This is not exclusive to just Amazon. I also saw the same deal at Sam's Club. But you can get the Apple AirPod Pros with the MagSafe case. These are normally $250, and Apple is running this sale for $175. So you'll save about 30% on that. And according to my little Amazon price checker add-on that I have, this is the lowest price in nearly 90 days in terms of price on this. So if you're on the fence about AirPods and looking for a sale, this is probably as good as it's going to get until Black Friday or Christmas, or they release a new set. So the Apple AirPod Pros available on Amazon and other retailers, $174.99. This next is a deal over at Costco, who I've been looking at their website. They have a lot of really good technology deals. This is a HP Pavilion, and I know HP laptops, it is what it is, but the specs on this thing are really impressive. It's got it's a 13.3-inch display, 16 gigs of RAM. For a laptop that's a lot of power for a laptop. The only place you could say it is slacking a little bit would be the size of the drive. It's got a 512 gigabyte solid state drive. So if you're trying to do video editing or something that requires a lot of storage space, this might not be the case for you. It's got an AMD Ryzen 5800U 8-core, Wi-Fi 6 graphic or Wi-Fi 6 Wi-Fi adapter, Bluetooth 5.2, a fully backlit keyboard, and it has a fingerprint reader for Windows Hello, so for quick login. And it also is running Windows 11 Home 64-bit, not Pro. Normally, this laptop's normally $900. It's on sale right now for $649. So if you need a nice, powerful computer, this is a nice looking device. Good power. Obviously, battery life with a system like this is not going to be ideal, but it does have a decent amount of power in it, and it is a 1080p panel. So you can check that out at Costco for $649. It's weird. I know we were talking about home assistant stuff, and I don't know what the integration with this looks like, but these are Wi-Fi light bulbs. Now, we've talked about, you could go and get a Wi-Fi light fixture, but if you've already got can lights or something like that that's already pre-installed, this is a relatively cheap solution to getting, or a lamp or something like that you want to be able to control the light on. TP-Link and their Casa brand, which by the way is a really good brand. I have a couple of Casa switches. They're nice. You can get 2 bulbs. They are only 2.4 gigahertz for Wi-Fi. So they connect to Wi-Fi, no hub, but connect directly to Wi-Fi, and you control them through the Casa app for $25. For $18. They're normally $25. If you go to Amazon, you can click the clip button and you'll save 7% on that. So $18 for 2 lights, 800 lumens, dimmable smart lights, full RGB. So pretty cool with that. That's over at Amazon. Moving on to the next page. This is over at Target. I'm a big fan of Roku, really, really big fan of Roku. And they've got a 50-inch TLC 4K UHD HDR smart TV. So this is really checking all of the boxes. This is normally nearly a $500 television, and you can get it on sale for $319. If you have a Target Circle, which is like their membership program, this TV is $280. If you have a Target Circle membership, which I guess is like an Amazon Prime or something like that they offer. But if you don't, it's $319. Smart TV built right into it, so you don't have to waste or burn an HDMI input for a Roku. All that built in. It's a TLC 50-inch smart TV over at Target. Moving on from here, I don't know when the last time B&H Photo had an item in specials, but they do today. Here's a cheaper, not quite as powerful computer, but a decent size computer, a 15.6-inch Lenovo IdeaPad 3. It comes with a 3 gigahertz Core i3. It's an 11th gen dual core. That'll be 4 cores with hyper-threading. Only 8 gigabytes of RAM and a 256 gig NVMe SSD. So manage your expectations with this, but it does have a 1080p IPS monitor on it. So it's a nice display, and it's a pretty cheap price. Normally $619 for this computer. It's on sale for $350, which is a very good deal for a laptop of this caliber. Also running Windows 11 Home, and it's got the built-in Intel HD graphics. You can check that out at B&H Photo for $350. Moving on from there, Western Digital. And if we know we talk about Plex and media storage, Western Digital is running this sale themselves. You can get the WD Red Pro NAS drive. This is a 16 terabyte drive directly from Western Digital. They're normally $550. They're on sale for $299. So a 16 terabyte Western Digital Red NAS drive. Yes, you can get 16 terabyte drives for cheaper from other manufacturers, but for a Western Digital NAS drive, they also have enterprise drives at the same cost, 16 terabytes for $299. And then finally, I thought this was a cool little product, and I want to talk about this for a second. If you've got an older car and you're deciding maybe you're not ready for a new car, you can't buy a new car right now because there's nothing on the market. Thanks, Biden. You can check out the Atoto, ATOTO A6. It's a dual DIN, so it's going to take up 2 slots on your car's dashboard. And this is a smart stereo that's compatible with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's a 7-inch Android car stereo. It supports 2 devices connected via Bluetooth. It also has HD radio capability if you're in an area or in a market that has HD radio. There's just a lot of really cool things on this. You can connect a remote backup sensor to it. There's a lot of things that you can do with this, and it works with both CarPlay and Android Auto, plus Mirror Link. So you can share something directly from your iPhone or Android and use this as a screen to watch something. Don't know exactly what the use case for that would be, but it's a feature that they provide. This device is normally $250 on Amazon. If you look at it through Sweet Deals, you can, or Slick Deals rather, there's a coupon code that saves you $75. The promo code is in the link if you click the PDF, and you can get it for $175 for this 7-inch Android. It runs Android base on itself, but it also supports CarPlay and Android Auto, or it'll run standalone by itself. So you can check that out over on Amazon if you're looking to get a make your car, bring it into the 21st century and make it a little bit more smart. And that is over at Amazon. And that is specials for this Sunday.
Very nice. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Yep, very nice. All right. I don't know why Spence is in the chat, but not here.
Well, maybe he's not in a place where he can talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what. It's old stuff. Google has been making unauthorized pages for restaurants and using them to take a cut of fees from delivery orders through sites like Postmates, DoorDash, and Grubhub, according to a lawsuit. The proposed class action filed by Liftfield Holdings, a Florida franchise of Lime Fresh Mexican restaurants, said Google has been creating illegitimate digital storefronts for restaurants and deceiving users into thinking that the restaurant approved them. The lawsuit says that Google takes a cut from the delivery sites for orders made through the storefront. And in some cases, delivery sites pay Google to divert users to them. Why does Google need to do this? I mean, I'm not following this.
I'm not.
Don't you have enough money? What? Say what?
I first of all, I don't understand the lawsuit.
Well, the lawsuit is
somebody has brought me business, and they're getting paid by somebody else, and I sue them. So where's the lawsuit?
No. They're getting paid. Well, yeah, you're right. They are getting paid from DoorDash,
that's what I'm getting. That's
Grubhub.
what I don't get.
I don't know.
Nobody, who's losing money. So
yeah, I didn't read the PDF lawsuit actual thing, the class action.
It sounds to me that the article was actually published by Google, so you'll learn about it, be furious about it, but then when you search about it, but it's not a lawsuit. I don't know. Otherwise, that or the lawsuit, the article is missing something. I mean, I get it that I get it that a restaurant is, I mean, they're annoyed that if they have their own system, right, for online ordering, and this goes through a third-party system that they didn't intend on working, that's a whole other issue. But sounds to me like they need to sue Grubhub, not Google. Google has brought business in, so what are you complaining about?
Well, I don't know that they can sue Grubhub.
I mean, they're getting paid. The money is coming through Grubhub. If somebody is taking something off the, skimming off the top, then it's Grubhub. And if they're sharing that profit with Google, I mean, I might not like it and I might ask to block it, but I don't see a lawsuit here. So I'm not understanding the lawsuit.
Talking about diverting and doing stuff like that, Thursday, I was looking for somebody that can spread gravel. We're getting gravel for the other half of the driveway, and the truck that they bring it with, if it was the same company, which it was, doesn't have the one with the back door open up swinging. It opens this way, and the driver could not spread it like he was supposed to, and it was a lot of work for us to go and shovel and all that. So I said, I'm gonna see how much, and I went and I looked for service to spread gravel, and one came up. I can't remember the name of it, and I sent them a request for a quote. Well, guess what? There was nothing on that website that said anything about Home Advisor. suddenly I started getting stuff from all over about from different from Home Advisor about this one and about that one and about that one that I'm going to get calls from these people. As I submitted the form, at the bottom there was also something about we also do this and this and this and this, and I was just talking with Kathy that we need to paint the house, the front, not the front, the sides, the gables, and I'm not gonna climb 2 stories up to do that. So I said, yeah, painting, outside painting, also. Well, that's complete. Let me tell you, the number of emails that came in that, oh yeah, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, is unbelievable. And I don't want somebody to come in just for painting. I said, if this guy can do it, if they can do it. It sounded like a small family-owned company, local, been in business for a long time. I wanted to talk to them, and I did talk to them. But I'm that close to block Home Advisor because they keep on sending emails about every 2-3 hours that, hey, you have pros who are still trying to get in to hear from you. Well, I did not ask you guys to tell me this.
You did, though.
Well, I didn't know.
Because the place that you submitted that you asked for the quote through, was it their own website?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But let me tell you why. Because they're using Home Advisor as their management system.
Right.
So when you fill out a quote on their website, it's a Home Assistant. It's a Home Advisor embed code that you're filling out.
I realized it after the fact, but I'm on a website that has their logo, their name, their domain name, everything. And you don't think about this. I want to talk to them.
But let me ask you this, and I understand it's frustrating, but is this any different than you going to a website to buy a product and you pay through PayPal? It's the same kind of thing. They're just using a third-party service to handle their bookings and things of that nature.
Yes, but PayPal doesn't bombard you with advertisement later.
Correct. And you can, Amnon, if you go to those emails, you can click unsubscribe at the bottom and all the notifications will turn off.
Yes.
Yes.
I never read all the way down, to tell you the truth.
I see it, I delete it. Just scroll all the way down and you can change your email preferences.
All right.
I mean, Home Advisor is in the business of lead generation. That's what they do. That's how they make their money. They take a cut of a lead that is generated. So of course they're going to bombard you. That's their business model. I don't agree with it, but that's what they do.
But it's an annoying situation. All right, let's go forward. Listen to this. With sanctions against Russia starting to bite, the Kremlin is mulling ways to keep businesses and the government running. The latest is a creative twist on state asset seizures. Only instead of a government taking over an oil refinery, for example, Russia is considering legalizing software piracy. So all these companies are not selling their software anymore in Russia because of sanctions. So they're saying, oh, well, it's okay for you to pirate this software and, maybe other people want it.
I had a discussion with a friend about everything that's going on there and the implication on the future. And there is one thing the world likes to love and hate right now, and that's cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues with cryptocurrency and its development and its implementation and the way it uses energy improperly and all that. And then there's those who see it as the answer for monetary control, for bypassing monetary control of governments and banks, etc. Now, this war starts that nobody was at least, most of the people weren't expecting. And reality is basically shifting into a place where cryptocurrency is suddenly something very, very, very important there specifically. As long as you have an online connection, you will be able to transfer some funds from point to point. Now, if that is the reality, then it means that if there is a legacy that's going to that we can see that's going to be affected by this war, one of it might be this was the beginning. This was the starting shot, right? The for cryptocurrency becoming legit. Thinking of a black market in the Ukraine and Russia operating completely on cryptocurrency is not a far-fetched reality, right? It might be a solution better than cash, better than using dollars, because those still need to be somehow imported in. Combining that with calling it quits on legal agreements of software usage, right? This is if these two things are going to combine in some way, it is going to be a very interesting. For the life of me, I wouldn't want that this war on anyone. I don't want it to happen. I don't think it should, but I'm just, musing about what are the realities that we're going to have a few years afterwards, what's going to remain. And it's starting to look like there's a lot of technology is going to be affected by that, software included. So I'm bunching cryptocurrency and software piracy. I don't think software piracy will legitimately survive, right? And eventually, if Russia, when they stop and they try to reconnect with the world, it'll go back. I doubt there'll be any persecution there around it. But I find it funny that, it's a free for all.
Yeah.
You don't have it. Yeah.
Just the fact that you would consider it is kind of.
Yeah, I wonder.
But I guess everything is fair in love and war, right?
Yeah. The problem with war is war eventually stops.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's not the trouble.
So,
That's the good thing.
no, I'm talking about the phrase, right?
Oh,
War doesn't remain.
yeah.
So yeah. I'm not for it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. All right, listen to this now. Academic researchers have devised a new working exploit that commandeers Amazon Echo smart speakers and forces them to unlock doors, make phone calls, and unauthorized purchases, and control furnaces, microwaves, ovens, and other smart appliances. The attack works by using the device's speaker to issue voice commands, as long as the speech contains the device wake up word, usually Alexa or Echo, followed by a permissible command. The Echo will carry it out, and they're saying that, and this is from Royal Holloway University in London and Italy University of Catania. Even when devices require verbal confirmation before executing sensitive commands, it's trivial to bypass the measure by adding the word yes about 6 seconds after issuing the command. Attackers can also exploit what the researchers call the FVV, or full voice vulnerability, which allows echoes to make self-issued commands without temporarily reducing the device volume. Because the hack uses Alexa functionality to force the device to make self-issued commands, they dubbed it AVA, short for Alexa versus Alexa. It requires only a few seconds of proximity to a vulnerable device, and that's key here, while it's turned on, so an attacker can utter a voice command instructing it to pair with the attacker's Bluetooth-enabled device.
I see.
Yeah. As long as the device remains within
That's
radio.
not a vulnerability.
Well, I mean,
why are they calling it a verb? I mean, what they're saying is, right, is you need to have a device close to it, pair it to its Bluetooth, and then have Alexa speak, and this device pick it up. Right? I'm getting it right?
I guess. I mean, they then they have Alexa issues a command in voice, and Alexa listens to itself and does it.
Stop saying the
Right,
word.
through that Bluetooth.
Oh, stop saying it. Yeah.
So
Thank
the
you.
device listens to its command, right? It issues the commands, but the device listens to it through the Bluetooth. I mean, it doesn't sound like an exploit. It sounds like a flaw in the design, but it's like, it's not, oh, hackers can now, I don't know, something feels off in the reporting. There was a lot of it all feels like an advertisement for, hey, did you know that your Amazon device can control your furnace, can control your doors, can control, right? It's like, because when it goes to describing the risk, it comes up with, oh, this is the way it works. You speak to the device, and yes, we can make the device say something, right? But we need to program it. We need to actually be close to it to have it say something. I don't know, something feels.
The thing that caught my eye in that whole article was the name of the device. Why can't we call it whatever we want?
Okay, so this is easy.
Okay.
Remember from day one, right? All of the naysayers, all of the alarmists, they all kept saying, right, that the device keeps listening to you all the time.
Yeah.
And oi Gewalt,
yeah,
it sends everything back home. Okay? The reason you cannot change the wake word is because on the electronic level, on the firmware level, on the local software level, right? Nothing is being sent back home until it hears the wake word.
Okay.
Okay, sometimes you'll see it light up a bit, even though you didn't say the wake word. It's because the local firmware thinks it heard it, right? And so it's sending some input to the cloud servers, and if that doesn't add up, then it cancels the command. So that thing is only listening while it's lighting up. That's the design. That's how it was designed. I mean, can you hack it for it to listen? No, not supposedly. I mean, it's basic design.
Okay.
Right.
Keep going.
You are putting. So everything about that wake word is based on the local storage, on the local firmware on that device. And will it be able in the future to add wake words? Yes, but it can't be too complex. And the training data that needs to be established, it needs to be it needs to be done properly. And so just willy-nilly saying a word is not enough. Typing a word is not enough. The amount of data it needs in order to interpret a specific set of words is not trivial, and that is why you need the servers in the cloud to do most of the processing. Right? That's the way Apple's Siri works. That's the way the Google Assistant works. That's the way Amazon Echo works. The biggest hurdle when the Echo came out, the biggest hurdle wasn't about the speech recognition so much as effectively recognizing speech in a room that might be noisy, right? And that was the biggest change, because before that, Siri was doing it for a long time, and before that, Google was doing it for even a longer time, right? I mean, I don't know if you remember, but back before smartphones, you could phone up to Google and do a Google search and get a phone number of a business. And that was completely automated. You were talking with a machine, exactly the same. So the wake word is local. It's in the firmware, and that's why you can't change it.
Okay.
Amazon changed it once, by the way.
Yeah,
When
I think
when they shipped, they had 3 words. They had
right.
Amazon, Echo, and Alexa, and the default was Alexa.
I thought. Yeah,
right?
keep going.
And about 6 months after they released the first Echo, they added computer.
Yeah.
So can they change it? Can they make changes? Definitely. But it's on their end. It's on the firmware level.
Okay. All right.
And the reason is because they do not want the data to flow constantly to the servers. They want the servers to work only when it's necessary.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. You guys go to Walgreens?
Rarely.
Well,
there's one that exists close to home.
Walgreens and other retailers replaced some fridge and freezer door with iPad-like screens. And some shoppers absolutely hate it. The screens, which were developed by the startup Cooler Screens, use a system of motion sensors and cameras to display what's inside the doors, as well as the product information, prices, deals, and most appealing to brands. Also, paid advertisement. The tech provides stores with an additional revenue stream and way to modernize the shopping experience. But for customers who just want to peek into the freezer and grab their ice cream, Walgreens risk angering them by solving a problem that shoppers didn't know existed. The company wants to engage more people with advertising. You get the point. There were some pictures in the article, and it looks so weird to see pictures of. Huh? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So yeah, they've essentially turned it into a kiosk. Now the only benefit, I guess, is the pricing.
Well, yeah, they can change it pretty
easy. You still open the fridge and pick up the. So what's the problem?
It's just not glass anymore. You can't actually see everything that's in there.
So I'm thinking the main problem is you open it and the product isn't as it was displayed outside,
or it's not there.
And if that's the case, if that's the or it's missing.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I would totally agree.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, there's some smart detection inside of the fridge. If there's nothing in the caddy for the product, it probably disappears off the screen. Would be my guess.
Well, I really hope so, right? But that's the thing. If I open it and where the Coke is supposed to be, right, from that picture, I get a Sprite, right? Then yes, I'm going to be annoyed because there was a perfectly good solution for that. It was a pane of glass, right? And I saw through it, and I knew if I wanted to open the door or not. Now, do I get more information? Yeah, if I touch it and it shows me more information, fantastic. That's a nice added feature. The real question is, did you break the old feature of me being able to see what's inside? So that's what I'm thinking isn't working. Otherwise, why be annoyed by it?
Well, here is one reaction. It says, why would Walgreens do this? Who on God's earth, who on God's green earth thought this was a good idea? The digital cooler screen at Walgreens made me watch an ad before it allowed me to know which door held the frozen pizzas. I mean, well, I mean, it may not show you. It may show an ad and then shows you what's
Can I
inside.
open the door?
You can, yeah, but then you have to open this. You have to open this. It's. I mean, you look through glass. You see.
Okay, so
yeah.
that sounds like it's not showing what's behind that door. It's just
All the
some
time.
general screen, and I would agree that that's bullshit.
It's. I mean, if the door display changes to an ad before it shows what's inside, even if it shows, cameras show what's inside, that's a problem. You have to, okay, no, I don't want to
agree.
see this. So let me open the door and open the door this and open the door. It's a waste of energy because the cooling, you open the wrong door, you close it, open the other one, close it. And I don't know. It seems like
Look,
kind of ridiculous. I
the
mean,
picture,
go ahead.
if the picture that you shown, right? If that picture is what you get only, 5 seconds out of the minute, I would agree.
Yeah, I don't know
My
how.
next visit would be with a baseball bat. But and I'm a very calm person, so. But
Well, if you do it if you bring the baseball bat in San Francisco, you're fine. It's totally illegal to smash something. Just don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that becomes like that. Yep.
What if I put a screen on the bat and virtually have a screen just smash another screen?
I don't think there's a problem.
Right? It's virtually okay, no?
All right. The developer behind the popular NPM package, I don't know what NPM stands for.
Node package manager.
Okay, Node.
Node.js. Node.js is
this is
what drives a lot of websites.
This is Node-IPC. Released sabotage versions of the library in protest of the ongoing war in Ukraine. Newer version of the Node IPC package began deleting all data and overwriting all files on developers' machines, in addition to creating new text files with peace messages. With over 1 million weekly downloads, Node IPC is a prominent package used by major libraries like Vue.js CLI. Select version 10.1.1 and 10.1.2 of the massively popular Node IPC package were caught containing malicious code that would overwrite or delete arbitrary files on a system for users based in Russia and Belarus. They have Home Assistants, I guess. Home Assistant, so they know where they are in order to work on them. These versions are tracked, blah, blah, blah. The developer, Brandon Nozaki Miller, aka RIA Evangelist, released open source software package called Peace Not War, and one-day test on both NPM and GitHub. The packages appear to have been originally created by the developer as a means of peaceful protest. So, if anybody is using it, or if your company is using it, 10.1.1 and 10.1.2 are bad, but I guess if you use it here in the States, it's not going to do anything, hopefully. Unless you're using VPN and your VPN is coming from Russia, for instance. I don't know that that's still a possibility these days. It's just interesting. Now, here's something that people need to be aware of. Internet security analysts have spotted a spike in backdoor infections on WordPress websites hosted on GoDaddy's managed WordPress service, all featuring an identical backdoor payload. The case affects internet service resellers such as Media Temple, TSO Host, 123Reg, Domain Factory, Heart Internet, and Host Europe Managed WordPress. This is coming from Bleeping Computer. The discovery comes from WordFence, whose team first observed the malicious activity on March 11, with 298 websites affected by the backdoor within 24 hours, 281 of which were hosted on GoDaddy. The backdoor infecting all sites is a 2015 Google search SEO poisoning tool implanted on the wp-config.php to fetch spam link templates from the C2 that are used to inject malicious pages into search results. The campaign uses predominantly pharmaceutical spam templates served to visitors of the compromised websites instead of the actual content. So just kind of be aware if you saw a problem with the website that you probably have that backdoor and time to fix it. Apply a patch. I would go to WordFence and see what their solution is.
Vince, what's your take on this from Alaska?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure. Sorry, I was trying to diagnose what was going on with my audio. I thought my audio was messed up.
Vince,
So,
look back.
yeah.
It's about to crash.
Yeah. This is hanging from the ceiling here. I know it's coming right at me.
Yeah.
You came at a very fortunate time. I have to leave, so you're tagging me out.
Oh, that's good. How are you doing over there? What time is it?
It's 10 to 5 right now.
Oh, the plane just banged.
Yeah.
So we're 11 hours difference.
Yeah, you are way.
Yeah. It's probably closer for me to go the other way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, Gal, here's something else that you may also want to hear. Netflix will soon launch a test letting primary account holders pay an additional fee for users outside their households. A new attempt by the company to address illicit password sharing. According to the Netflix term of service, a customer account may not be shared with individuals beyond your household. After years of turning a blind eye to password sharing behavior that falls outside that requirements, the company last year ran a limited test prompting users to enter their account credentials as a way to nudge freeloaders into paying for their own account. Now, in an upcoming test launching in 3 countries, Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru, Netflix will let members who share their account with people outside their household do so easily and securely while also paying a bit more.
Yeah, good luck.
Director of product.
I think there's a reason they're trying it in Chile, Costa Rica, and the reason I'm saying is I have nothing against those countries, but those countries, they behave with software laws in general, right? And I'm talking again, not the letter of the law. I'm talking of people's reaction to the way software licensing works and is enforced, etc. Countries like Costa Rica, Peru, and Chile, they're very similar to Israel in that term. Very different than the States, right? These are, we used to call these countries one diskette company, right? You had your software shipped on a diskette. That country just needed one diskette, and then it's like wildfire, copied all over.
Yeah.
I can see why they would use those places to test anything that has to do with the logic of account sharing, because it is really widespread there. And the problem is, it's about proving worth more than anything else. It's not about inconvenient. It's not about, it's about the standard of, oh, this is something that is provided digitally. I don't need to pay for it.
Right.
And that is the internal dialogue most people have in these countries. And it comes from a lot of things, but usually software is rather expensive in these areas, right? Compared to, the cost of living and all that. So, good luck.
It'll be interesting to see what they use to detect it, and can a VPN defeat it, and things like that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But then again, there's more to this, right? Because it's never about just IP address detection. Because legitimately, me, the person who's paying for Netflix, I can use Netflix on all of my devices. I can use Netflix even when I'm outside or traveling. So if this is my account, this is a digital service, right? Then I can use it in multiple places. So it starts to be more of, okay, how many multiple streams am I having? If they want me to pay for multiple streams, that's completely different than them nagging me of telling me, I'm thinking you're using it in more than 2 locations.
Didn't Netflix already have in place where you could say, I have a single user or multiple users?
Streams. Yeah, it's limited to 2 streams, I think.
Yeah.
The default, and I don't know if you can buy more, but if they would allow me to buy more for a fraction of the cost of a complete subscription,
yeah.
In the States, I'm telling you, it'll work. Maybe in some parts of Europe, it'll work. Chile, Costa Rica, Peru, Israel, I don't think so. People will just find a way of dealing with the nagging. They'll just stop using, but they won't pay more.
Yeah. All right.
On that note, I gotta go.
You gotta go.
And Spence, good seeing you.
Yeah.
And
how is everybody over there?
Everybody's okay. The plane was packed solid. Weather is fine. Compared to you, it's like fantastic. So
I know you didn't mention a word about the UPS. Is everything still working?
Yeah, there's only one thing connected to that UPS, and even if it goes down, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a bummer. Yeah, we didn't get to talk about it. That's fine.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
I'll talk to you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Where's Nick? Almost the same thing that happened to Nick happened to Gal. Nick had a UPS that got hit, and
it didn't get hit.
It died.
I had really poor power in my apartment that I lived in. It was just, the power was not very good, and I lost 2 UPSs in there. Not during storms, just out of the blue, they would just pop and stop.
Gal
got to put a UPS in front of the UPS.
Yeah, well, that the electrical service in that apartment was so poor, Spence, that I have these IKEA LED light boxes that I had on either side of my couch with the big long light boxes with the diffusers in it. And the frequency of those LEDs you could hear in the service panel across the apartment. That's how poor the service was in there. And so I just stopped using UPSs because it was a huge waste of my freaking money. I was pissed.
It sounds like you would have needed a commercial isolation transformer.
Yeah, I would have needed something that I sure as hell wasn't going to put in my, $700 a month apartment.
We used to, at IBM, we'd have accounts that had dirty power. And you had
Yeah.
to literally put in a room-sized isolation transformer and cut over and all that to basically completely isolate the power from the grid by having a transformer in and out. It worked good. I mean, but it's very expensive.
What happened to Gal is he found out as they were approaching Israel that he couldn't connect anymore to some devices at his house. And when he got home, he tried this and tried that, and then he went and looked around, and on Facebook neighborhood something, he found out that there was a power interruption that kind of like blinked, and he asked his neighbor to go in, and he could hear the UPS beeping like it was overloaded, and he had the neighbor remove everything and plug it directly to the wall, the power, and then just leave one thing on the UPS, and the UPS is still working. But suddenly the UPS could not power more than that one device. So that was, and as he said, that's why he was talking about the home automation. It always waits until you're away and you can't do anything for something to happen.
Well, that's the built-in inconvenience detector.
Yeah.
Just knows.
So I told him, I said, now
I'm
you
waiting
know.
for when Pam comes up, something's going to go wrong at the house. I know it.
And that's why I said, now you know why I got used to not leave, because when the servers were running here, that's it. You can't leave. Or you can't leave for extended period of time or go far.
But you could now.
I guess I could. It's just a matter of.
What do you mean you guess you could?
Okay, I can.
You can.
Yeah.
You have full access to all of your stuff remotely.
True.
What you don't have is a automatic water shutoff system.
Or an automatic transfer.
Hey, Nick?
Which I'm planning on.
I know
replace
you.
My whole house filter.
I know you use Twitter a lot.
Okay.
Did you notice that change that they made and then they reverse it? Something about the timing, the chronological feed. They said that they changed.
I haven't used the Twitter app or website in years. I use everything through TweetDeck, so I don't see any of the stuff that Twitter does on their website. Yeah, and I'd recommend everybody, even if you just have one account, to install to use TweetDeck. It runs in a browser. It's tweetdeck.twitter.com. They own it, because there's no algorithms, there's no ads.
Their refresh is so much better.
Yeah,
than Twitter's refresh.
Yeah, well, because it's meant for being able to actually chronologically see what's going on. When the Twitter website is algorithms to show you what it thinks you want to see, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But yeah, TweetDeck is the way to go.
Well, for people that don't use it, I agree. Probably it's better. But if you see that suddenly you can't follow your timeline, it's because they changed the way that it is. They changed it, but last week they reversed it because I guess a lot of people complained about that. And how big is Ubisoft?
They're huge.
Well, they confirmed the cybersecurity incident that led to the mass reset of company passwords, but has declined to say what the incident actually was. In a brief statement, they say last week, Ubisoft experienced a cybersecurity incident that caused temporary disruption to some of our games, systems, and services. Our IT teams are working with leading external experts to investigate the issue. As a precautionary measure, we initiated a company-wide password reset. Also, we can confirm that all our games and services are functioning normally, and that at this time, there is no evidence any player personal information was accessed or exposed as a byproduct of this incident. The France headquarters video game company is best known for its Assassin's Creed and Far Cry brands. They
So
have
did it
a
reset
hundred
user
and
passwords too?
they
No, this was internal passwords.
Yeah.
Internal. So it changed everybody's password to Ready Player One.
Oh wow, yeah. You see, I didn't read it all the way. Ubisoft had 117 million active players. Geesh. What I mean, in comparison, Nick, like what other how many some of the other companies have?
I have no idea. Not off the top of my head, I don't know.
Wow.
Ubisoft is a very large company.
Consumer Reports wants the Federal Communication Commission to take a closer look at whether internet service providers are complying with a U.S. law that prohibits them from charging hardware rental fees when customers use their own equipment. In a filing submitted to the FCC this week, Consumer Reports said it asked members about their internet bills and got over 350 responses, with some suggesting violation of either the letter or spirit of the law. Some contain allegations that the law is being violated, whereas others state the new statute is being respected. Many more stories suggest that ISPs dissuade consumers from using their own equipment, typically by refusing to troubleshoot any service disruption if consumers opt not to rent the ISP device.
You know what though? As I know that they're using that as a tactic to get people to rent their own equipment, from a customer service standpoint, I can understand that completely.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I bring my own, if I bring my own router and I'm having internet issues, how can I expect now? They should be able to troubleshoot issues up to the modem,
right?
And if they're not doing that, then they're being scumbags.
Even if the modem is yours, they can look up to the modem anyway.
Correct.
And that's it.
So if they're not doing that, then they're being deceitful. But if they are doing that and then stopping the troubleshooting, I don't really have a problem with that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, it's not the ideal situation, but it's not their equipment, and I don't expect them to troubleshoot something that might be my fault because of a configuration error on my router or a bad router or something of that.
Yeah.
It was interesting when Spectrum took over Time Warner. They changed some long-standing policies of Time Warner. If you wanted to get a bundle, you had even if you didn't use it, you had to take their modem and have it in your house, sit it on the shelf, because at the end you were supposed to give it back or they would penalize you and make you pay for it as part of the bundle. Now that's gone. When Spectrum took over, they eliminated that policy.
And at that point, they can charge you for it because you have it.
Yes.
But
that was a weird thing.
But the law changed sometime a year or two ago where they said that if you use your own equipment, they cannot charge you. And they were charging people even if they had their own equipment and they gave back the other. And remember, like last week we were talking about the problems that I had with the Google Fiber.
Yeah.
Well, later on in the day, I found out what it was, and it is ridiculous. It was a bad connection in the switch of the Google Fiber Ethernet cable.
Oh, there you go.
Cables I mean, I was looking at the switch, and I said, "Wait, Google Fiber is connected at 100 versus a gig." So I pulled it and plugged it back in. I moved it, and it was flickering 1 gig and 100 and 1 gig. And so I pulled it out, pushed it, pulled it out, pushed it. Everything is fine since. And
did you put a new cable on it?
no, I guess
Why?
it's because it was sitting there for a long time. I don't know.
But it could be the
Yeah.
cable.
Yeah, it could be. Well, after that I moved it and jiggled it and twisted it and all, and
Just
nothing.
replace the damn cable.
Yeah, I know. I should. Good point. Good point. And also last Sunday I went to my mechanic friend Mohammed to check his internet because he said that it's very, very slow. And I already gave him a router that he can use for Wi-Fi because the Spectrum modem router was worthless. And we talked. I went there, and sure enough, it was like 8 and 9. So I called Spectrum, and he called already Spectrum, and they told him that he needs to get a new modem, that they cannot see the modem, and there is a problem with the modem, and he needs a new one. So I took a modem with me, and we called them, and I asked him, I said, okay, you told him that he needs a new modem. Are you charging him for the modem? Blah, 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 blah. They look around. No, we don't. I said, if he gets a new one, do you charge him? No. I said, okay. So we went and got another modem, came home, plugged it in, same story. And I'm saying, what in the hell is going on? Now I'm using a cable, an Ethernet cable. It turned out to be the cable. I mean, I couldn't fix it. I didn't have another cable with me. So we came here, picked up a cable, 2 cables, went back, put a new cable between the modem and the router. Everything is up to speed. It is amazing what these cables will. I mean, I never had that kind of situation where a cable was half-ass working.
So now you're relying on all 4 pairs. You're running at a much higher frequency.
Yeah.
And the error detection that's built in and auto configuration that's built in is probably crap.
So
as
yeah,
soon
I
as
mean,
it detects something.
Yeah, that's why when I came back home, I looked at the cables. I looked at the speed of Google Fiber. I say it's still slower than it's supposed to. It was like 90 some. I said, so let me see. So I went looked at the connection, and that's what it was.
Used
But
to be that if I had a bad cable, I'd replace the ends on it, thinking I'll make it work again. Now I just throw it in the garbage.
Yeah,
if it's suspect,
I mean,
it'll make you insane.
We used to just press them again, crimp them again.
Yeah.
And that didn't do it. Something about that cable. I tried to make it work. Nothing.
There's
Nothing.
a lot to be said for having an actual Cat 6 crossover cable.
Why would you
Used
need?
to be, it'll work. Cat 5e, it'll work.
Yeah, I mean, when the Plex server was connected with a Cat 5, and I thought that's why the problem was also, and I connected it directly to the switch, ran a new Cat 6e, and so far it's been okay for over a week. So there is something to say about, hey, just like you reboot the computer, every now and then just unplug the Ethernet from the back of the router if you have them, plug them back in, unplug them from the modem, plug them back in. Just to clean the contacts.
When I was having trouble with my router at home, I made the mistake of thinking, I can just put a smart plug in, so I can just start, turn the power back off and back on again. And then I realized the first time I did it, I said, wait a second, that's not gonna work. So now I have the little 900 megahertz switches. The ones that it's a little on-off switch. Remember the ones you use with what was that weird little box that you use to work with Alexa to make those switches work? And the company went out of business.
Yeah, it
was a little brick.
You tell it to shut down or shut down and restart, and you do the shutdown and restart, and it does it by itself. Yeah.
Now I just have this sits on right by the television. I just turn the whole system off and back on again. coming
Yep.
back.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got to run.
All right, it's time anyway.
All right, have a good week.
All right, Nick. Talk
You
to
too,
you.
Nick.
Have a good week.
Yep.
Have
see you
fun.
guys.
Have fun
Bye.
with Home Assistant.
Will do. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, Spence. Stay away. Stay. I'm gonna end the show, but stay.
Okay.
All right. So thanks, Nick. Thanks, Gal. Thanks, Spence. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Arlington, Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, remember Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is, and that's Eastern. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his news program. You can use your Amazon device and just tell it, play 980 The Wave. You can always just go to nickcraig.com and listen to all the recordings. And Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. So 7 p.m. on Tuesday evening, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. That's for survival games and game news in general. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.